Strap in, because today we're breaking down 10 Harley-Davidson models that dealers are struggling to move. Whether it's an overpriced tourer, a miscalculated electric bike, or a cruiser that never found its audience, these bikes just didn't make the cut. From production missteps to brutal competition, we'll dig into why these bikes flopped, what went wrong, and how dealerships are scrambling to get them off the floor. Let's get into it. Number 1. Harley's electric gamble, the LiveWire, has some impressive specs. 105 horsepower, 86 pound-feet of torque, and a 146-mile city range. With 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds, it was one of the quickest Harleys ever made. The problem? A $29,799 price tag. More expensive than some of Harley's most powerful gas bikes. The issue? Harley riders love that iconic V-twin rumble, and the LiveWire is completely silent. Dealer woes. Many dealers have cut prices by as much as $5,000, but they're still struggling to move these bikes. Competition from brands like Zero Motorcycles also played a role, as Zero's SRF offers comparable performance for nearly $10,000 less. Additionally, the LiveWire's limited range, about 70 miles on the highway, and lack of charging infrastructure have kept traditional Harley riders away. In Q4 of 2024, Harley reported a $26 million loss on LiveWire, proving silence isn't always golden. For some historical context, Harley's past attempts at innovation, like the V-Rod, faced similar resistance from traditionalists. However, unlike the V-Rod, which had a decade-long production run, the LiveWire struggled almost immediately. It's now been spun off into its own brand, but sales remain sluggish. Number 2. The Street 500 and 750, the entry-level flop. Not designed to attract younger riders, these bikes featured a 494cc for the Street 500 or 749cc for the Street 750 liquid-cooled Revolution X engine. The Street 750 pumped out 53 horsepower and 47.9 pound-feet of torque, while the 500 barely pushed 34 horsepower. So what went wrong? While it was meant to be an affordable, lightweight urban cruiser, the cheap build quality, rattling parts, and uninspired styling made these feel like an afterthought. The Honda Rebel 500, for example, pumps out nearly 46 horsepower and weighs significantly less, offering a better power-to-weight ratio and smoother ride. Let's talk about dealer woes. Even after being pushed heavily through Harley's Riding Academy, these bikes failed to gain traction. Many dealerships had trouble sourcing parts, customization was extremely limited, and Harley's core audience wasn't interested in an entry-level bike that lacked traditional Harley character. The Street lineup was quietly discontinued in 2021, yet some dealers still have leftover models that they just can't seem to offload. For some historical context, Harley's previous attempts at smaller displacement bikes, like the Harley-Davidson Aramaki partnership in the 1970s, also struggled to capture mainstream success. The company's core DNA has always been about big, loud, powerful machines, and anything deviating from that has faced resistance. Number 3. The FXDR 114, the muscle bike that missed the mark. With an 1868cc Milwaukee 8 114 engine, 90 horsepower, and 118 pound-feet of torque, this bike was Harley's attempt at a high-performance muscle cruiser. Why it flopped? The FXDR 114 looked aggressive, but suffered from awkward ergonomics, a stiff ride, and a massive 240mm rear tire that made handling cumbersome. At $21,349 MSRP, it was pricier than the similarly powered Fat Bob 114, which is more comfortable and practical. Dealer woes. Riders looking for performance leaned toward the Ducati Diavel, which gave 157 horsepower, or the Yamaha VMAX at 200 horsepower. Instead, both of which offered better acceleration and cornering ability. Even with deep discounts, the FXDR 114s remained a tough sell, and Harley discontinued it after just 2 model years, 2019 to 2020. For some historical context, the FXDR was inspired by Harley's drag racing heritage, much like the older V-Rod muscle. However, the FXDR's high price and awkward riding position meant it never found a niche market like the V-Rod had. Number 4. Now, Harley's first adventure bike, the Pan America 1250, features a 150 horsepower Revolution Max engine, a 6.8-inch TFT display, adaptive ride height, and off-road ready suspension. The downside? Despite being a capable ADV bike on paper, it entered a fiercely competitive market dominated by BMW, KTM, and Honda. Early reliability issues, top-heavy handling, and a lack of dealership familiarity with ADV bikes hurt its reputation. Dealer woes. Priced around $17,319, it was more expensive than the Honda Africa Twin, priced at $14,499, while lacking the off-road pedigree of KTM's 1290 Super Adventure. Harley also struggled to convince traditional buyers to switch to an adventure bike, leading to slow sales and heavy discounts. Historical context. Harley has long been a cruiser and touring brand. The Pan America was a bold attempt to break into a new market, but it faced skepticism from ADV riders who saw BMW and KTM as more established players. Number 5. The CVO Street Glide. $50,000 for what? A luxury Harley featuring a 1923cc Milwaukee 8 117 engine, 125 horsepower, and premium custom paint. Why dealers are struggling? At $50,000, it's nearly twice the price of a Street Glide Special, $28,000, with only marginal upgrades like a better infotainment system and custom paint. Resale values plummet quickly, making it a bad investment for most buyers. Dealer woes. Even die-hard Harley fans struggle to justify the price when they can get a well-equipped Road Glide Special or Street Glide ST for significantly less. Historical context. The CVO lineup has always been Harley's premium tier, but with increasing competition from Indian's elite models and rising customization options from standard bikes, fewer buyers are opting for CVO models. Number 6. The Softail Deluxe, the forgotten cruiser. Powered by a 1746cc Milwaukee 8 107 engine, this bike produced 85 horsepower and 109 pound-feet of torque. The issue? Its retro styling and excessive chrome didn't resonate with younger riders, and traditionalists preferred the more versatile Heritage Classic. At $18,399, it was priced too high for a cruiser with limited touring capabilities. Dealer woes. Many dealers have had trouble moving the Softail Deluxe because it sits in a weird middle ground. Not practical enough for touring, but too expensive for casual riders. Harley quietly discontinued it in 2020. For some historical context, the Softail Deluxe was once popular among custom builders and nostalgia lovers, but as riders shifted to blacked-out modern cruisers, demand faded. Number 7. The Electra Glide Standard, stripped-down touring that didn't sell. Harley's attempt at an affordable full dresser, the Electra Glide Standard, featured a 1746cc Milwaukee 8 107 engine, producing 85 horsepower and 111 pound-feet of torque. With its stripped-down look and minimal electronics, it aimed to be a no-frills touring bike for those who wanted a basic bagger. Why it flopped? While it seemed like a smart move on paper, the execution fell flat. At $21,000, it was still expensive compared to used ultra classics that had more features like infotainment and passenger comforts. Buyers looking for a budget tourer often went for used road glides or street glides instead. Even with price cuts, dealerships have struggled to move them, and many customers just didn't see the value in a stripped-down bagger when fully loaded models weren't much more expensive. For some historical context, the Electra Glide name has deep roots in Harley's lineup, but in the modern touring era, most riders expect tech and comfort rather than a bare-bones machine. Number 8. The Road Glide Limited. Too much price for too little. At $40,000, the Road Glide Limited boasts an 1868cc Milwaukee 8 114 engine, premium seating, and a shark-nose fairing. Buyers are asking, why spend $40,000 on a Road Glide Limited when a Street Glide Special at $28,000 or a well-equipped Indian Challenger offers similar features for much less? For dealer woes, even with price cuts, sales are slow because many buyers opt for used ultra-limited models instead, which offer nearly identical features for half the price. For some historical context, the Road Glide has a cult following, but the Limited's high price and lack of standout features make it difficult to justify for many buyers. Number 9. The Fat Bob 114, the style over substance ride. An 1868cc Milwaukee 8 114 engine powers the Fat Bob, delivering 90 horsepower and 118 pound-feet of torque. Why it's a tough sell? The Fat Bob's aggressive styling alienated traditional Harley riders, while performance enthusiasts opted for lighter, faster options like the Triumph Rocket 3 at 165 horsepower. Dealer woes. The high price, $18,899, combined with its niche appeal, means that dealerships have struggled to move them off the floor, even with incentives. Historical context. Harley tried to blend cruiser and sport bike influences, but the Fat Bob lacked a clear audience. Too sporty for cruisers and too heavy for sport bike lovers. And finally, the Street Glide Special, Harley's touring icon, still struggling. The Street Glide Special is one of Harley's best-selling models, featuring an 1868cc Milwaukee 8 114 engine, producing 93 horsepower and 118 pound-feet of torque. With its boombox GTS infotainment system, stretched saddlebags, and aggressive blacked-out styling, it's designed to be a sleek, modern bagger. Why it's struggling? Despite its legacy, the $28,000 price tag makes it hard to justify when competitors like the Indian Challenger offer more power, 122 horsepower, and liquid cooling for a similar price. The Yamaha Star Eluder, with similar features, also comes in cheaper. Dealer woes. With supply chain issues and fluctuating inventory, dealerships have had to offer steep discounts to move these bikes. Plus, many buyers are opting for the cheaper standard Street Glide at $23,999, or going all in on the Road Glide ST for better touring performance. Even aggressive dealer incentives haven't been enough to clear out inventory. And for some historical context, the Street Glide has long been a cornerstone of Harley's lineup, but as touring technology improves across competitors, its price-to-feature ratio is being challenged more than ever before. So, Harley's at a crossroads. With CEO Jochen Zeitz cutting shipments by 50% and new entry-level models planned for 2026, Harley is trying to modernize. But can they do it without losing their soul? What do you think? Which Harley was the biggest flop? Let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more deep dives into the motorcycling world.